Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And my brothers and sisters, that took about 4 hours since my last video. The Biden administration must have been feeling the heat from the whole cutting of the FBI and the ATF and the DOJ. Republicans kicking them right in the teeth. You can watch the whole video. It's linked right down there that I did earlier today. They just released their new budget, and wouldn't you know it, right when he's about to sign the cuts, they're putting out a new desired budget, which is going to boost the ATF, boost the FBI, and do all sorts of things that would make the Chris Murphys of the world not angry at him in an election year. So weird how these things all happen. Everything will be linked into the description box below, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think. And of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. And the content today, I hope you guys need a new holster because it is sponsored by Vanish. This is not your everyday range holster. This is the holster that eliminates all your excuses for not carrying your favorite freedom tool. So comfortable, in fact, they offer a guarantee you'll love it or they'll get your money back. It fits 99% of existing models, and you can carry 2 fully loaded mags in this bad boy. Just a few of the features the Vanish holster boasts: it has a no stink material. It wicks away moisture and prevents odor, so you don't have an issue in that regard. As well, it comes in 2 sizes, 48-inch and 68-inch belts. That makes it a perfect fit for everybody, and the belt is fully adjustable. And this holster comes with the most comfortable holster you'll ever wear guarantee. If it's not the most comfortable, they've got you. Also, if you use my code right in the description box, you get 30% off for yourself plus an additional half off of the next one for your friend or family. Vanish wants to hook you and your family members up. Not only if you click on the link in the description box below do you get 30% off for one for yourself, but you also get an additional one for 50% off the already discounted price. It's right down there in the description box, and act now so you can not only prepare yourself, but also your family and friends with this whole. All right, people, let's dive in because they must have been feeling some pressure from the whole cutting of the DOJ thing that we covered today in our earlier video. Again, watch it if you haven't so you can know the backstory. It'll be in a card and I'll link it. But they put this out from the White House a couple of hours ago, like about an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago. Listen to this. This is breaking stuff. Fact sheet. The president's budget tackles crime, keeps Americans safe and at home. So this is for 2025. Listen to this. The president took on the gun lobby and signed the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act into law, the first significant gun legislation in nearly 30 years. So he's going to build his case here, which includes enhanced background checks for buyers under 21 who pose a danger to themselves and others. Lie, it's every single one universally. Expanded mental health programs and support for implementation of red flag laws that keep guns away from dangerous people. It was actually a bribe for states to do it with federal funding. The president also created the first ever White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention in American history, overseen by the vice president and staffed completely with gun control advocates from the major gun control groups, by the way, and has announced nearly 40 executive actions, not orders. Actions are suggestions, orders are actually orders. That's also important that they didn't tell you. We've covered that a lot. To keep guns out of dangerous hands. Working with Congress, the administration secured the greatest increase in funding in the nation's history for the physical security of nonprofits, churches, and all these different things. The administration has also delivered the most funding ever for the bipartisan VAWA, or the Violence Against Women Act, to combat gender-based violence, in addition to issuing our nation's first ever plan to end gender-based violence. Well, that was quite the I'm in trouble, please look at what I did, don't be angry anymore. But now let's get to what this budget actually calls for. I'm going to throw a few billions out there, so don't try to add this up. Again, we're focusing on why they're doing this because the why is the big picture. They were feeling some heat from the Republicans kicking them right in the gonads from getting the DOJ, the ATF, the FBI, the EPA, all the executive bureaucratic agencies cut in this budget that Biden's about to sign. So they're doing pre-work, all right? Look at this. Pursues new mandatory investments to combat violent crime and support victims. Here comes the funding for police. The budget builds upon the Safer America plan by investing an additional $1.2 billion over 5 years to launch a new violent crime reduction and prevention fund to give federal, state, law, tribal, and territorial law enforcement the dedicated, seasoned support they need to focus on violent crime. So I guess the whole defunding the police because it's an unjust system kind of went out the window, huh? Okay, must be an election year. This includes hiring new federal law enforcement agents, prosecutors, and forensic specialists to address violent crime, expand federal operations to combat fentanyl and apprehend dangerous fugitives, and support the hiring of 4,700 detectives at the state and local levels to drive down the high rate of unsolved homicides. This is so weird because I really thought that the problem was law enforcement and the really deeper systemic issues were causing all of it. And if you just got rid of the law enforcement, there would be no crime. That's what we were told, right? Well, now all of a sudden that didn't happen, and let's get a few gajillion dollars for all the law enforcement. These people are as disingenuous as the day is long. But anyway, the budget also includes $1.9 billion for the U.S. Marshal Service to support efforts to reduce violent crime, including through fugitive apprehension and enforcement operations. Going after criminals? Something sounds off about that. Again, we've been told, beaten over the head with it, that the problem is not the criminals because they didn't get enough hugs. And if they only had more hugs, this wouldn't have happened. So we're going to defund the police. We're going to completely put new initiatives in place to prevent them from doing their job. And then when bad things happen, we're going to hire more police. There were never any more hugs. For the love. Let's continue because Biden is on it, clearly on it. This includes $1.5 billion in mandatory funding to support community violence intervention programs at the DOJ over the next 10 years, and $10.9 billion in the support for the president's goal to recruit, train, support, and hire 100,000 additional police officers for effective, accountable community policing consistent with the standards of the executive order. Accountable community policing. Isn't it funny how you got to use certain words to not upset the purple hairs, the pink hairs? Can't you go too far to the conservative side? You got to still say, but they'll be accountable for all their actions. Can't just say we need police because criminals going to criminal, bad people going to bad. We can't just. Okay. Well, maybe they've seen the light. They've seen the light. That's what it is. Until this last one. Listen to this. Again, this is all linked, and it was just released 2 hours ago. It invests in federal law enforcement to combat gun violence. The budget makes significant investments to bolster federal law enforcement capacity to strengthen public safety. Again, that is bizarre because they didn't tell us that was the case. In fact, they told us the opposite. I think the exact phrase, if memory serves, was reimagine policing, defund the police. Depends on the variation of the blue, purple, or red state you were in for a Democrat. But legitimately, that's what they were doing for 2 and 3 years during the utmost upheaval. Then they used it to push more gun control measures, which they didn't get most of them. Just saying. Let's continue. The budget includes $17.7 billion for DOJ law enforcement, including $2 billion, an increase of over 30% since 2021 for the ATF to implement the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. So they got cut for $122 million, and now they want to give them $2 billion. Guys, if you can't see what this is in trying to give more money in a proposed budget and putting the onus on Congress because Biden just got his teeth kicked in by the Republicans over defunding ATF, FBI, EPA, the video we did today, I can't help you if you can't see this. Well, they took $122 million from the ATF. Let's give them $2 billion. That'll teach them. And they'll use it to enforce the Safer Communities Act that we signed because we're awesome, because we're, gun safety stuff. Guys, the transparency, it's like a squid. It is like a squishy squid. Let's continue. This increase reflects the president's commitment to reducing gun violence by arresting and prosecuting illegal firearm traffickers and preventing guns from falling into dangerous hands. Well, you should probably restart Project Thor then from the ATF because they already know where all the trafficking rings are. They just defunded the project right when Biden came into office. Isn't that weird? How now it's something they can say, look what we're going to do, but they could have done it for the last 3 years. All my videos on it are in my video archive. You can check it. You can look up Project Thor. They completely defunded the entire thing from the ATF because trafficking wasn't a thing then. Well, now apparently it's a thing, even though they knew all the answers. I'm getting a little spicy, guys. These investments support the full implementation of the Bipartisan Safe Communities Act in closing legal loopholes that allowed illegal firearm traffickers to evade justice. Now there's loopholes. This budget also includes an additional $51 million for the FBI to support the continued implementation of enhanced background checks, a key provision of the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. This entire thing was built to say, look, no, we didn't lose. We aren't defunding anybody. We're just putting it in the next year's request for budget. In Congress, they'll have to do it, or else they're big meanie heads. That's exactly what's happening. They're going to go on the offensive for political purposes. Kamala Harris is already scheduled to go to Parkland to talk about this exact same thing. They're going to start pitching the idea that gun control was one of their big flag items, and they're going to start selling you on it the entire time. And then they're supplementing it with a new plan that they just released, which is the outline for a budget for 2025. Guys, transparent, and you just wouldn't believe it if we didn't show you. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.